Hey guys, it is October 10th, and this month on the 13th, I will be 4 years and 10 months on testosterone. A lot has kind of gone on, not so much all of it is transitioning, but life happenings, you know. But as far as changes, I'll go right into the physical right now. As you can see, I am really thinning out and receding. I've said this, and I'll probably continue to say this in every video because not everybody watches all my videos. So I have no balding or thin hair on both sides of my family. None of the male family members are thin like I am. So it could be testosterone related, or it could be I have a hypothyroid disease that also involves hair thinning, losing hair. But I've had that for many years now. I went back on my labs when I was kind of researching all this, excuse me, and I did notice that my Hashimoto's, the hypothyroid, has been very high, and which means that I'm active in my hypothyroidism, in being tired all the time, fatigue, dry skin, those kind of symptoms, not sleeping good. And I've noticed that my medication, I'm at the highest dosage I can be on thyroid hormone replacement, and it has not managed the Hashimoto's that well. Now, I would think that with me changing my diet a couple years ago, that things would get better, that the body would kind of repair itself. But I guess sometimes when you have an autoimmune, it takes a lot more than that to repair. I read one, Andrea, what was her last name? Andrea something, starts with a B. She had Hashimoto's, and it took her over 2 years, but she was able to reverse it. But she also followed a very strict diet. She's also a chef and understands all the herbs and medicinal stuff, natural stuff that goes into what's good for your body, like mushrooms and herbs and roots and all that stuff, and even tree bark and all that. I know for myself, and I'll be honest with you, I will not follow a diet. I'm so sorry. I do this every time. I've had a lot on my mind, so I apologize. But I know that I will not follow a certain diet for over 2 years. I'm just not that structured and disciplined. It's not that I couldn't. It's just that I know I wouldn't. I'm just not disciplined in that way. I'm not even disciplined in a way that I cook every night. I don't like cooking. I love barbecuing, but I hate preparing meals. It's being in the kitchen is not one of my fortes. Buy a bunch of meat, get me to do a dry rub or my other wet seasoning, marinating sauces, and I'll be at the barbecue all day for you. But as far as me preparing meals, adding certain things, it's just not going to happen. So that being said, the thinning could be that. I know I'm still growing hair. I do have to shave now. This is my second day. Like I told you guys in the past, is I like the clean look. So I will need to shave. I'll probably let it go today, but it'll start getting itchy, and I'll shave tomorrow. So maybe every 2 days to keep the actually probably every day because you can see the shadow the next day. Let's see. Remember I told you about the spot right here that I looked like I had a blemish and my hair disappeared on my mustache and it never grew back? Well, I've got that red spot coming up again, and the hair looks bald there. So it's like yeah, my body is just like my eyebrows. You can probably see all the hair, but they're light, and it doesn't grow in very good back on my face. Not the beard part, just certain things. I've noticed. I saw my brother for the first time in a while, and he used to have a real thin mustache and all that, but he's gotten thicker in here and around. So he's gotten hairier as he's gotten older. I cannot tell you about muscle change. I have not done anything. Actually, I've really not done anything since phalloplasty of August of last year, and I haven't gotten back into really doing a gym exercise thing. I have done a lot of projects this year that has needed my strength, and I have noticed that I'm really, really strong. I've done a remodel of a bathroom and have had to lift up heavy things, pull them off, pull it apart, and I've managed those just fine. Ripped up the linoleum floor with no real effort. My wife couldn't do it and asked me to, and I ripped it off with probably under a minute. Got it all done. It was a bathroom floor, but I mean, it just, my strength it surprises me. So this month is due for my labs to be drawn for estrogen and testosterone, and I think she's doing a thyroid. My labs have been, I'm probably going to end up doing this video while we're redoing it. My labs have been in the 900s, and then they dropped down to 500 something, then they went up to 700 something, and that's where the last lab was. My estrogen levels, the history of my estrogen has stayed under 20, and then when my testosterone levels have gotten high, it's gone up to just under 40, and with that has come the fat redistribution on my hips. My pants have gotten a little tighter. I was losing inches in my waist, and now with the fat coming back on my hips, the top part of my thighs, on the side, I always call my body shape a recliner body shape because everything's settled in the midsection because I'm sitting down 50% of my day. So some of that is not going to be able to be helped because of my disability. On the other hand, I was losing the fat on my hips and my butt with my diet change. Everything was going good until my estrogen or my testosterone levels shot high, and that happened after phalloplasty. So I'm not really sure what all my body thought to react to. I have had I was thinking probably there's a lot more guys out there that have had inconsistent testosterone levels, but because they only draw every 6 months, maybe it's not as noticeable. Mine has been drawn, in the beginning it was drawn every 5 weeks. I had a conservative endo, and then it went to every 3 months, and this endo now is doing it every 6 months. So I may not see on paper the inconsistencies, but I can definitely feel it. My body tends to really show when estrogen is high in it. I get emotional, and it doesn't have anything to do with me reacting towards people. I get emotional watching a happy show. Somebody crying, and I'll cry with them. It hasn't gotten that bad, but it has in the past. I have been on the verge of tears. I have not cried. It's like I can't cry. But also, too, I have been going through a lot of emotional ups and downs recently that I think has been part of the tears. You know, testosterone doesn't solve all your life issues, but what it does do is that it builds confidence in you when you can start seeing that person in the mirror. From the time that you start testosterone until you look in the mirror and start seeing changes, that space right in there is a very, very high reactive, high stressful time frame for a lot of people, whether you're female or male, because you're wanting so much. You finally made this decision. You finally stepped in and started things, and you want so much now that you've come out to everybody or almost everybody, and you started going by a different name, and all this stuff is going on right in that beginning. When you look in the mirror, you want to see that person. You want to see that person that's on the inside, on the outside. And it can be very frustrating. It can be very emotional for a person. And, you know, then you've got added into that your expectations from other people. Whether you say, I know it's going to take time, and you understand that, the minute you get misgendered or the minute you get mispronounced, it just kind of is like throwing a dart at you and hitting you, poking you. Even though some people have reacted really bad, you know, like, don't do that, don't call me that. You know what, you know, I'm not going to tell you how to act, but I am going to tell you that as much as we expect others to be in line with us, we have to also be in line with them. Yes, we've been that person all of our life, but they haven't physically seen that person. And so things start shifting and things start, you know, taking different roles in your life, and you got to be very patient with that. And so when you look in the mirror and you're not seeing changes as much, you're not hearing changes as much, or where you think you should be, just kind of step back from it and take a deep breath. As time goes on, it does start happening, and you're still battling the misgender, you're still battling the mispronouns. I'll be 5 years on testosterone in December, and I still get mispronounced once in a while from my family. It bothers me, but is it going to bother me to be reactive to them? No. I'll just once in a while go, who? And they'll catch it. Or I don't say anything and they've caught it. But still, I have been reflecting on my life, and then I have been putting myself in my family's shoes. What if, and I use a person I'm close to in the family, they came to me and said the same thing? How would I look at them? It would be weird for me to see my niece all of a sudden become my nephew. And even though I would be supportive and I love her and him, whatever they decide to do with their life, I stand behind them as long as they're not hurting somebody else. But you can't, there's just so much of this journey that comes in phases. And so I've been reflecting on that a lot lately. I have some family members that have basically disowned me, and that's okay too. I understand how they grew up. I grew up in the same culture, family culture as they did, same family values, morals, etc. But the difference is I was handed a different journey, and I was challenged, and I had to challenge my upbringing, what I was taught in many different ways. So not everybody has been given that kind of life. So there's a lot of people that walk around and never knew that they have white privilege, or never knew that, you know, how hard it would be to be able to hold someone's hand out in public without being scrutinized or even violently abused by other people, attacked. So there is so much ignorance. And it doesn't necessarily mean that a person is ignorant. It just means they are ignorant of the situations. They have no clue. My family had no clue until I was at the age of, into my sexuality, to where I realized, oh, something's different here. And even though when I was a little kid, knowing that I should have had a penis and knowing that I should have been acknowledged like my cousin that was 10 months younger than me, my dad did allow me. He didn't force me to be that little girl. And my mom and dad did give me room to sprout and grow with my I just went blank. With what I enjoyed in life. For example, riding bikes, riding motorcycles, working with tools, playing baseball. I had to settle for girls stuff, but if I could play baseball and it meant being on the girls team, that's what it meant. I learned from an early age too that I shouldn't talk about these things, because we didn't talk about those things. And I also realized that I should have a penis, but I don't have a penis. And then as I hit my teens, my sexuality, so I knew that what I was attracted to and how I saw myself wasn't exactly what I was physically, and how others saw me. But testosterone doesn't change the learned behavior overnight. Yeah, there are a lot of things about us that we collect baggage along the way, and sometimes some of us don't react or haven't reacted really in a healthy way. Talking about depression, comfort eating, addictions. It doesn't necessarily always have to be drugs. You can have a soda addiction, a sugar addiction, and but they could be emotional addictions, not just physical addictions. So testosterone doesn't change things overnight. But the one thing I found in my life that has changed for me is my personal persona, how I view myself. When I look in the mirror 4 years and 10 months later, how gratifying it is, how I am so grateful that I had the opportunity to see myself as a whole. And there are so many people before us, generations and generations and generations of people with gender identity that had no clue what it was about. And the same other people, ignorant people, scrutinizing and rejecting and judging people who are different than they are. And yes, it still goes on, and there are many, many people who are still feel like they can't transition for various reasons, convicted reasons, feeling like they will let their family down or let God down, or whatever, however they view themselves. But I'll tell you something right now, being raised in a religious home, but being raised by a black sheep of the family, it had its draws, but I am so thankful. I look at my siblings and we have pushed through adversity so much in our lives and have grown, and all of us have been productive citizens. Not all of us, have made the best choices in life. Again, there are things that everyone reacts different. and again, issues in life that they don't feel they can resolve or has beat them down. But overall, I honestly am really thankful that I've had the kind of journey I've had. I'd rather be a 54-year-old trans man than a 54-year-old man with blinders on. And with those blinders becomes walls and judgment and hate and ridicule and not always being the best person you can be. And I'll tell you, I'm not the best person I could be, because none of us are perfect. But I always strive for it. Yes, I make mistakes all the time. I open my mouth and sometimes say something I shouldn't say, or voice my opinion when it's not needed. It's just being human. But overall, how I get up in the morning and who I look at in the mirror, I'm very satisfied with the kind of human being that I have grown into being, and on top of that, being able to see who I am fully as a whole in the mirror. So there's always ongoing challenges in life, hurdles and rocks and gullies and potholes and lakes, and just always obstacles in your journey that you have to get through. And being a trans man is not something I wear on my lapel, but it is something that I have come to understand is a unique journey. And no one else, of course, none of us have experienced each other's journey, but I've come in the last few months to realize that in my relationship, Tony and I as a couple, we still walk our own unique walk. Even though now the outsiders who know nothing about us view us as a heterosexual couple, we still find ourselves feeling like we don't fit in every little crack and nook of life. It's still a unique journey for us, and we're still finding ourselves and coming into twofold with ourselves and our relationship. But it's how we handle these obstacles that's on our journey. It's how we react to them is how forward we'll go or how backwards we'll go. And we have no one to blame but ourselves. Sure, people are the ones who throw things in our journey, throw things in our way, throw words to hurt us, cause us pain and suffering. But you've got to have faith and belief in yourself and confidence in yourself that you will get through that. You've come this far. Think of everything you've had to stand up against thus far. And so, 4 years and 10 months on testosterone, I'm feeling very high powered within myself. I love who physically I've become. Sure, there's imperfections. I would love to have that male physique that other guys have, and I could accomplish it, and it's just up to me how far I'm really going to press that. But also too, we have to understand our limitations, and we can't go forward if we set ourselves up to fail every time. I have my limitations physically now, so I can dream and vision things, and I can achieve them, but there's a price. So I probably really gone off the kilter this month. Like I said, I've had so much on my mind, and a lot of this has been on my mind. And so, instead of the normal, I'm sorry, I got a new card for the camera, but I guess that's blurry. It says it's locked, and I unlock it, and I don't know what to do. I have a Canon, Canon looks like F215 or S215, 3.0 pixel, whatever, and it won't take it. And this is a video card, photos and videos. Maybe it's because of the high definition. What do you guys think? Maybe some of you technology people out there can tell me. It'll work in this one, but I can't see myself to know if I'm, we'll try it down the road. But anyway, I'm sorry this is a long video. A lot of this is what's been on my mind and what I've been processing. My own self-image, my own limitations, and how I allow those limitations to dictate my life. And I'm working on them. Actually went and saw my therapist, and I didn't get help at all. And it's because when I hear myself talk, it's like I feel like a baby, and then I'll snap myself out of it. But it's been pretty hard lately, still dealing with my injury and my limitations. But I'll tell you something. I am so thankful to be here and to be able to share my life with you guys and my experiences, and hope that it touches somebody, or maybe something I said helps somebody get through a rocky time in their life, because we need each other. Humans need each other, and humans, are the worst enemies of themselves. So be careful when you make a decision in your journey. Also understand that it affects other people. And I'm not saying take the pounding, but just understand the pounding's just a soft blow. A lot of times it doesn't mean anything. And those who get rejected from their families, give them time, step back from them. You don't have to call them every day, and you don't have to be involved with them. Do your thing and allow them to take time and see what they feel. See if they miss you. See if they, maybe watch some more TV and learn some stuff from reality shows on transgender people. But just know you're not alone. There's millions of us all around the world, and we all are doing things differently and look at things differently. It is a unique journey for our lives, each and every one of us. Our journey is unique to us only. It's not just about transgender or sexual orientation or being white male, black male, Mexican, brown males, females. It's about all of us put a little into to make this world happen. So anyway, I'm getting off kilter here, but I hope you guys take your journeys one day at a time and listen to those words. It's not just a saying, because that's all you have control of, is one day at a time. So make choices for yourself and make them as simple as possible. All right, take care, guys. Bye.